So, good morning, everyone. My name is Barbara Boyer. I am the Executive Director of AgeWise Colorado, and I welcome you all to being here with us. I'm going to start off with a little bit about what we do at AgeWise, and I'm sharing my screen. So this is the second in a series of 3 on home modifications. So the whole point is to help you age in place. And what we're going to talk about today is accessibility in the home, the considerations for assessing needs. And these are our presenters today. Brian is with the Division of Housing and did our first webinar. We'll have Kim and Tina be presenting to you today. We do ask that everyone mute themselves and turn off their cameras. It helps with the processing, and since we're recording, it makes it a little easier for our editor. We ask that anytime you want, go ahead and type something in the chat with questions, and hopefully we'll get all questions answered before the end of this session. AgeWise, if you don't know, and if you're not getting our newsletter and just heard about this from someone else, we are a nonprofit organization. We are all volunteers, and we're here to connect the older adult and their family caregivers to the services that they provide. Vet all of our service providers, so you know they're all legitimate businesses. And we welcome donations at any time, because even though we're volunteers, we do have expenses. And the other thing is, we're always looking for more volunteers. We've got a lot of work to do. And if you've got some time, most everything we do is out of the home. So you don't even have to drive and find parking. We're serving through all Coloradans throughout the state. This is our website. You can go there anytime, read articles, view previous webinars. This one will be on, as well as the first one. We've had a little delay in recording that. So anytime you need help, you can also call us. You can go online. And that's it in a nutshell. I will stop the share. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kim. And Kim, the stage is all yours.
Okay, let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, well, my name is Kim Branting, and I work for the Division of Housing with the state of Colorado. And today I'm going to talk to you about home modifications, considerations for assessing needs. On our agenda today, we'll talk about key terms for home modification, different measurements and specifications, resources to help identify needs, the home modification tax credit program, and then at the end, we will hear from the AgeWise sponsor. So home modification definition and key terms. First is an egress point, which is an entrance or exit to the home. Accessible route, which is a route that's without obstacles so that people of all abilities can access all spaces in a building or structure. You have durable medical equipment, which is shortened to DME. There's assistive devices, scope of work, and this is a document that outlines items that are needed to complete the project. You have the project overview, tangible items to be completed, what constitutes a completed project, the timeline, and also the budget. Activities of daily living, which is shortened to ADLs, and these are self-cares, so anything that you need to do during your day to take care of yourself. And Americans with Disabilities Act, which is shortened to ADA. The Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990, it's a civil rights law that prohibits discrimination based on disability. Accessibility standards issued under the ADA apply to places of public accommodation, commercial facilities, and state and local government facilities, whenever there's new construction, additions, or alterations. So what can a home modification address? It can address transfers, mobilities, home safety, hand dexterity, reach of the upper extremities, hygiene, self-care, talking about those ADLs, as was on the other screen. Instrumental ADLs or IADL, this is anything outside of self-cares that you need to do on a daily basis, such as cooking, cleaning, laundry, childcare, cognition, and also sensory systems, in particular hearing and sight. And where can the home be modified? The home can be modified basically anywhere. Bathrooms, areas of egress, again, that's an entrance or an exit to your home, kitchen, flooring, interior stairs, bedrooms, hallways. You can add little things to your home, such as door chimes or stove timers, exterior work that might need to be done, lighting, different contrast, different bulb types, or a heating lamp, and also doorways. You can make doorways wider if needed. You can also add different types of doors to fit your needs. So an overview of home modifications and adaptations to support you living in place. Some considerations. You want to make sure that you have the appropriate type of modification. You also want to keep in mind your body mechanics. You want to make sure that you keep in mind what you're able to do physically. Measurements is also a very important thing to consider. Measurements of assistive devices that you may use, such as a walker or a wheelchair, to make sure that you and your device are able to fit in whatever modification that you would like to have. So durable medical equipment, or DME, as we talked about on a previous slide, Medicare defines DME as equipment that's durable for repeated use. It's used for medical reasons, typically only useful to someone who is sick or injured, used in the home, expected to last 3 years. Medicare considers grab bars and installations for transferring support as part of DME as well. So keeping in mind grab bars, you definitely want to think about the location and making sure that you're installing them at the ideal location for you. Assistive devices, you want to consider the size relative to the device and the features, and also factor in the maneuverability in your home. So with assistive devices, the type, size, and maneuverability are all major factors when considering the best home modification to meet your needs. Every device has many options to consider. So as a general rule, the more options usually means a larger device with more impact on turn radius and maneuverability. You also want to consider the context in which you're using the assistive devices, whether that's in the community or in your home or both. So some examples of those assistive devices is a walker. You can have a manual or a wheeled walker. The wheels tend to impact the turn radius, but it does allow more independence with a seated option and a storage basket. Canes, there's different types of canes. It does have less support than a walker, so it's ideal for those who only need a minimal amount of support. Sometimes canes can also be used part-time with a walker, depending on what your needs are. Wheelchair, manual wheelchair requires arm strength and you might need caregiver support. Power chairs do allow for longer distances and they have storage options, but they pose a challenge in the home because they can be hard on flooring and they might not always fit through narrow doorways and hallways. There's also a standard wheelchair, but these are much less common and they are more expensive, but they do allow you to stand up. So the options of a roll-in shower chair versus a shower buddy. A basic roll-in chair requires arm strength or caregiver support. The shower buddy system, or something similar, enables the use of a tub longer term if a roll-in shower is not affordable or feasible. It has a secure transfer system that enables the transfer without having to stand up. The seat itself locks onto a transfer bench and then it glides between the floor and the tub. It has self-propel and motorized options. But you do want to consider space with a shower buddy because it is both a shower chair and a transfer bench. I'll talk to you about different bathroom modifications. Those are going to include showers, accessible vanities, toilets, and grab bars. The first option is a roll-in shower. This would be ideal for someone who uses a rolling shower chair. It's a 0 entry on the entrance there. So it's for people who would be unable to lift their legs over any sort of threshold in the shower. Someone who has decreased leg strength, limited mobility, again, needs to use that rolling shower chair. Considerations, though, is that water will likely spread outside the shower. So you might want to consider a collapsible water dam in order to contain the water. The next option is a walk-in shower. And this is ideal for someone who can't lift their legs into a bathtub. But it does make for an easy transfer because there's just a small lip on the shower. So someone would need to be able to have a little bit of leg strength to be able to step over that threshold. This cannot be used for someone who does require a rolling shower chair because that shower chair would not be able to roll over the threshold of the shower. You would want to consider whether you'd want shower doors or shower curtain. And again, you can't use this with a rolling shower chair, but the tiling ensures the ideal lip height. Another option is a walk-in tub. This can be used when someone cannot get their legs over a bathtub, but they would still benefit or desire soaking in a bathtub. You can have different options. The picture with the open door, that is a slide-in option where you can roll your wheelchair up next to the walk-in tub and slide right over. The picture with the closed door is a walk-in. And so you would not be able to slide into it from a wheelchair. You would have to be able to step up over that threshold that is there in place still. This can be used for pain management with some jetted options, but there's considerations to keep in mind with the walk-in tub. Again, you have that threshold height that you need to step into still. The door width is not very wide, so think about body habitus. And also the wait time and body temperature regulation. With these tubs, you need to get in and wait while the tub both fills up and empties. So it could be cold and uncomfortable. You might need to have additional electrical circuit, and that would need for a larger water and heating bill, larger water heater and higher water bills. So that's something to consider when thinking about a walk-in tub. A tub cut. So this tub cut will still have a threshold that you need to step over to enter the tub. You can see there's two different types. The top picture is a tub cut that does not have a door. So it cannot be used as a soaker tub. The bottom picture can be used as a soaker tub, but this one you also must wait in the tub while it fills and while it empties. So you still have the same consideration of being cold, perhaps uncomfortable while it fills up in that tub. But this is could be more cost effective than using an entire replacement or getting that walk-in tub. You can get portable jets that can be used that has that same pain management benefit as a walk-in tub. And another option could be a hydraulic bath seat. And you can still use a regular tub with that hydraulic bath seat, but it would be a more cost-effective option. There are shower accessories to keep in mind. With a shower chair, you can do a built-in shower chair. You can do a wall-mounted, which is the bottom picture of the shower chairs, or more of a bench structure. These would be ideal if a portable shower chair is not suitable for whatever reason. And there's different options for a built-in shower chair. You can get folding arms, a padded seat, bariatric options, a hole for peri-care, and also one that folds up, which the bottom picture is a folding one as well. And you do want to make sure that the location and placement is ideal. So keep in mind the handheld shower head, which could be on a bar as seen here, so that you can adjust the length, and make sure that you can reach the shower head from where the shower bench is. So definitely measuring and location is important. Next is grab bars and transfer poles. Now this is in the bathroom section just because that's the most common place for grab bars to be, but really grab bars can be anywhere in the home. So with the grab bar, you want to consider the placement of them to make sure that they're in an ideal place for where you would reach, the correct length, texture. Some of them come textured, some are without, and also mounted versus suction. The picture that you see all have mounted grab bars that provide more stability. but there's also a suction option that don't need to be bolted into the wall. And transfer poles, considerations, these reach both the toilet and the shower. There's an adjustable handle that you can see on those bars. This can be useful when there's not wall space to attach a grab bar to, or perhaps if you live in a rental where you're not allowed to insert those grab bars into the wall. Toilet modifications, you can get an ADA height toilet, which is 17 inches or taller, to help with the sit to stand. You can do fold down grab bars as seen in this picture here. You can install a bidet, which helps with pericare. You can also install a toilet riser, which goes on the bottom of the toilet. And again, it just lifts up the toilet to help the ease of standing up from the toilet. Accessible sinks. You can have a roll under, which is what this picture is, accessible vanity, and you can have a wall mounted sink. You do want to consider the size and location of the sink to make sure that you can access it, whether with walker or with wheelchair, however you may need to get to that sink. And there's different faucet options, which are single lever, motion activated, or voice activated to meet your needs. The next section is talking about egress points. This is the entrance or exit to your home in the outdoors. You can have different options for egress modifications. You can have ramps, easy steps, railings, or vertical platform lift. Different materials are available for these. You can get concrete, which is more expensive, but it is less maintenance. Wood, which requires more maintenance, but it can be more aesthetically pleasing. Metal or aluminum, this is more expensive than a wood ramp, but they can be removed and reused in another location. They may look more institutional, but they're lower maintenance. You also want to think about the non-slip aspect of your ramp with grip strips, non-slip coating, or broom finish. And also railings. There's many different kinds of railings that can meet your needs. So the first option are easy steps and railings. The top picture is of easy steps, and these are used when a ramp is not wanted or needed, but someone might still need assistance to use the stairs or they use a walker. These are ideal for someone with a walker because it has a deeper tread for the walker to fit on the stair, and it's a lower rise so that the leg does not have to reach as high. The bottom picture is an example of railings. This can be a more cost-effective if the person is able to take the stairs, but they just need a little bit extra support. But please keep in mind that a walker cannot be used on standard stairs because there is a more narrow tread, and so a walker is not safe to use on regular stairs. The next option are ramps. When you're thinking about ramps, you always want to consider the ADA gold standard, and that's a 1:12 ratio. And that means that for every 1 inch rise there is from the ground to your door, there needs to be a 1 foot long of the ramp. And this just makes sure that there's an appropriate slope of the ramp so that it is not too steep and could be dangerous. You also want the ramp to be 36 inches wide, so someone who uses a wheelchair would be able to access that ramp. You can consider different layouts of the ramp to fit your space. There's L-shaped ramp, there's a straight ramp, or switchback, just depending on what length of ramp you need and what your outdoor space looks like. Keep in mind, in inclement weather, you would want to put some non-slip coating, not choose an aluminum ramp, or use a covering over it if it is one that will get wet with snow or ice, and then it could become slippery. Another option is a threshold ramp, and this can be used when there's difficulty stepping over or getting your assistive device over the doorway threshold. You want to make sure that the ramp is as wide as the door so that the wheelchair doesn't drop off the side of the threshold. These should not be used on doors that have a threshold higher than 3 inches, but a portable ramp could be an option if the rise is larger than 3 inches. Lastly, vertical platform lifts. You want to keep in mind that these need a dedicated electrical circuit, so that could add cost to your project. You also need adequate space to ensure that there's enough room for someone in a wheelchair to access the lift from both the bottom landing and the top landing. The next area are interior stairs and railings. I'll talk about railings, stair lifts, and ceiling track lifts. So the first one is handrails. You definitely want to consider the location of them. Make sure that there's a proper height while walking so that you can use them efficiently. And you also want to make sure that there remains proper width and make sure that people are able to still get through the hallway even though the railings are in place. And it must be properly supported and bolted into the wall. You can see in this picture that there's a grab bar in the hallway. So there are grab bars in other places outside of the bathroom. This just shows an example of a different place that a grab bar could be, again, installed properly into the wall. Second option is a stair lift. There can be different features of a stair lift. You can have a swivel seat, a seat belt, bariatric, but you need to make sure that there's additional space to safely dismount on both the bottom and the top landing from the stair lift. There's some cost considerations. You might need an additional electrical circuit or an outlet, which will add costs. And stair lifts do need maintenance and costly repairs. But keep in mind, there can be different types. You can see a curved stair lift, or you can get a straight stair lift or multiple straight stair lifts, depending on your environment and what might meet your needs. The next option are ceiling track lifts. And this is something that you can consider if you would like a ceiling track to go along the majority of your home. It would prevent caregiver strain, and you have an option to access multiple rooms with the track. And it would replace the Hoyer lift that you have instead. It does require a dedicated circuit, and you need to think about doorway work. So if you look at the middle picture, you can see that the ceiling track goes through the doorway, and so it required a cutout in order for that to happen. So this might require additional structural work. You just need to consider where it needs to go in the home and how is it going to get there. Kitchen modifications. These include accessible cabinetry, accessible sinks, and roll-under counters. Accessible cabinetry supports the limited reach of your upper extremity or the ability to bend at the waist. You can have both pull-out shelving for base cabinets or pull-down shelving for top cabinets. There's pictures of these here, and they're mechanical, so they raise and lower gently. It doesn't take too much strength to be able to use them. Other kitchen supports, you can have mirrors, for instance, on your stove to see what you're cooking. Roll under cooktops. These would be similar to the roll under sink in the bathroom section so that you can access whatever you might need if using a wheelchair. Different accessible appliances, different heights of your dishwasher or appliances so that you're able to access them. And also keep in mind adaptive equipment. These are more cost-effective, smaller pieces of equipment that can help you, such as reachers, plate guards, rocker knives, non-slip mat, knob turners. The options there's a ton of options out there. So I would recommend you look into those and see how those can assist you as well as modification. So now we'll go into identifying your need and finding resources available to you. So first of all, you want to determine what your priority and think about what the cost, what resources are available, and what is the most urgent need. There might be multiple projects that are needing to be done for accessibility, but you want to think about what's the one that you may need the most. You also want to think about long-term versus short-term adaptations. Depending on what you need the modifications for, you may want to think about what the long-term needs are, so you do not have to continue to make multiple modifications. And when doing a home modification, there may need to be repairs that happen before the accessibility portion can even begin. Making sure that you take measurements before you start any work. You want to take measurements of the wheelchair, the walker, your turn radius, floor to knee height, floor to hip measurement, and also your reach length of your upper extremities. So how does this apply to your home modification? You want to make sure that you're able to access your home modification and making sure that you can get into the rooms that are being modified. So getting a home modification evaluation, you can get support from a specialist. This would typically be an occupational therapist or a physical therapist. They'll go and do a functional assessment of your home, go room by room, and also the egress points. They'll keep in mind your body mechanics and any assistive devices that you use. And also look at measurements and your minimum clearance, just to make sure that you're able to access the areas that you need to access. Evaluation costs typically cost $150 to $200 out of pocket. I would inquire with your insurance provider if you have a private insurance. Medicare may cover the cost depending on the plan, so I would recommend looking into that further. There's a couple of programs that can help. The first program is a Community Aging in Place Advancing Better Living for Elders program, the CAPABLE program. This is through the Visiting Nurse Association. It includes 10 home visits tailored to your needs, 6 with an occupational therapist and 4 with a registered nurse. Each session is designed to ensure your home environment is as safe and supportive as possible. And that's according to their CAPABLE website. Again, you get this home evaluation and you get some training and some follow-up as well. The next program is the Assistive Technology Act program. This is a national member-based organization that includes state and territory programs. The mission is to enable individuals with disabilities, service providers, and others to learn about, access, and acquire assistive technology according to their website. They have durable medical equipment and also augmentative communication exchange if communication is something that you need assistance with. You can also do some device demonstration. And there's also the Home Modification Tax Credit Program. This is through the Division of Housing. And this was what our first webinar series was about. So there was a lot more details in that presentation. But an overview, you have an eligibility of 8 years from your project completion date. This is a state income tax credit program. You can get up to $5,000 per eligible household member. It is a non-refundable program. Again, with the Home Modification Tax Credit Program, for eligibility, you must be a Colorado state taxpayer or dependent, be under the household income limit, documented disability or diagnosis, demonstrate a need related to that disability, and be the homeowner or have landlord authorized to do the work. Again, this information can be found in our first presentation, or you can search the internet, the Home Modification Tax Credit Program. That is with the Division of Housing. That's the conclusion of my portion of this presentation. We will hear from Lifeway Mobility, who will speak next, but I wonder if there's any questions regarding my section. Okay, if not, I will hand it over to Lifeway Mobility.
Can I interrupt for a minute? I'm sorry. I had trouble getting myself off mute. I have a question in that I see people in walkers, and the walkers are always very low, so they're stooped over. Is there a reason for that? Because isn't it better that you stand as upright as possible?
Yeah, so my background is actually an occupational therapist, so I do work with this. And the reason for that is typically just that person's preference. It is not what is best for their body mechanics. It is probably how they've used a walker for a long time and how they prefer to use a walker. However, to have it be used properly, kind of the rule of thumb is that the top of the walker should come to about your wrist level when you are just standing with your arms at the side. But I do recommend, having a specialist look at that. But typically, walkers should not be used for people to be bent over. That can cause some back problems.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no other, there's nothing in the chat, so let's go on to Tina.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, Kim, for that presentation. It was a great one. Leads right into Lifeway Mobility and who we are. We were formerly Accessible Systems. We have been providing home modifications, all that Kim has talked about in her presentation. we've been providing all of those home modifications in the Colorado area for the past 25 years. So we can do all the projects. Nothing's too big, nothing's too small. We have done it all from grab bars to full bathroom remodels. We can do the stair lifts, the vertical platform lifts, ramps. We even do elevators. Kim didn't talk about elevators, but elevators are also an option in the home as well. With that being said, we do the free home assessments. We have home access specialists that will do a free home assessment. We're never looking to sell anything, but always looking to provide a solution. When I say solution, we look at the entire home as a whole. So we have a physical therapist that will come in and really look at, we have people that call and ask for one specific product, but when we go in and do a full home assessment, we will look at where do they typically sit, how much time are they spending in a certain room, do they like to do their the laundry, where are they going in the home. So we're looking at their daily living activities and really focusing on how we can help manage a crisis in those areas to help them stay home safely and independently. With that being said, I think Kim did a wonderful job talking about the home modifications and what to look for, how we can help. What I would like to talk a little bit about is how we can help with transitioning someone home. So mom had a fall. She is now at the hospital, has to transfer to rehab. What happens next? So with Lifeway, what we would prefer is to have a phone call while someone is still in the hospital. We know they're going to be coming home with a wheelchair, walker now. They're going to need assistance. We want to meet someone bedside. We want to start building that relationship and finding out what needs to happen prior to them going home, so we can prevent any kind of issues when they do get home, so that they can have a full, safe transition home with their caregivers. So what that may look like is getting the referral and information to us prior to them going home. I will go out and meet with them, find out what their needs are, possibly meet with a family member at the home, have an access specialist come in, do some measurements. Like Kim said, we always follow the ADA guidelines and what it looks like in the home. So we want to make sure that's all taken care of there. And then once someone is progressing home, we want to possibly have the job complete and have gone over all of the training with the caregiver or family member. And then once the patient comes home, we will then again go over any kind of training that may be needed to work any kind of device that's in the home. We are looking to really help someone be at home and transition so that there isn't that fall or crisis mode and have to go back out again. So basically, Lifeway is here to help in any way possible with any kind of home modifications. If anyone ever has any questions, they're always welcome to just call me or the office directly. We do have a showroom that people can come over and test out stair lifts. They can look at the ceiling track system and test to see if they have the upper body strength to use the ceiling track system. We do have a physical therapist on site that will meet them there and walk them through any kind of education that they may need prior to purchasing any products. With that being said, does anyone have any questions? Kim, do you have any questions? Brian, anyone
There's
have any?
something in the chat.
There is a
You ladies are very comprehensive.
Yeah, that was very, very helpful. Thank you.
Well, I guess if there's no questions, we're going to give everyone back some time today because we're scheduled to 12:30. I would love to mention that on October 9th, we will have the last in this series, and it will be on construction guidelines and how you can ensure having a very successful project. How you get bids, how you set up the contract with a contractor and make sure that the work is done. So we hope you might join us. And with that, I'll say goodbye and thank you all for attending. And I appreciate the presentations. Thank you both, Kim and Tina and Brian, for helping me get this set up. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Enjoy this beautiful weather.
Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you.